Welcome to the Erasmus Key Action 3 Youth application support video. This video will be talking about completing the 2017 application form for applications under Key Action 3, structured dialogue between young people and decision makers in the field of youth. This key action promotes the active participation of young people in democratic life and fosters debates around topics centered on the themes and priorities set by the Structured Dialogue Initiative and the renewed political framework in the youth field. The debate is structured around themes for each of the 18-month work cycles which are set as part of the structured dialogue process. This step-by-step guide will go through filling in the Key Action 3 application form, and it is intended for UK organisations who are looking to complete a Key Action 3 structured dialogue meeting application form. In this session, we will talk about where to find the application form, the deadline and application process, and completing the application form itself. You will need to complete the online electronic form and fill in all the relevant fields and submit to the UK National Agency. The first deadline for 2017 is the 2nd of February, and applications will need to be submitted by 11 AM UK time. It's worth pointing out, before you start to complete the application form, your organisation will need to register on our EU login system, and you will need to obtain a participation identification code, known as a PIC number. All organisations that apply for Erasmus Plus funding must first register with the European Commission portal. And you will receive a unique 9-digit number, and this number is directly linked to the information that you register on the portal and enables you to enter all your organisation's details automatically into the application form. So please check that your organisation has registered before you start to complete the application form. So where can you find the application form? You will need to go to the Erasmus Plus website, which is erasmusplus.org.uk. Click on the menu, then you will need to hover over Apply for Funding, then hover over Youth Funding, and click on Apply for Youth Dialogue Funding. You'll then need to scroll down, and on the right hand side under application forms, here you can download the 2017 application form for Key Action 3. So once you have downloaded the application form, please save a copy for your own records, and please make sure that you have the correct application form open. And it should be for the call 2017, and it should be for Key Action 3, so please double check those details. It is compulsory for all Erasmus Plus applications to complete the electronic form when applying. And the eForm is a PDF file which will need to be opened and edited using Adobe Reader, and you can download the appropriate Adobe Reader from the Adobe website. Once you've saved the electronic form locally to your computer, you do not have to be connected to the internet to enter information into the form. The downloaded eForm can be saved and closed at any moment without losing the data. However, please note that you will need to be online when you submit the form. So please double check that you have the Key Action 3 support for policy reform application. And this action is strongly linked to the social dialogue and renewed political framework for youth. Therefore, it is essential that you visit the European Commission's Structured Dialogue website and the European Youth Portal to understand how it works in order for your project to participate in the process. The thematic priority for the 5th Structured Dialogue cycle, taking place from January 2016 until June 2017, under the presidency trio of the Netherlands, Slovakia and Malta, is enabling all young people to engage in a diverse, connected and inclusive Europe. Ready for life, ready for society. The theme intends to improve young people's political participation in the democratic life of Europe, inviting member states to develop national, regional or local strategies and programs for enhancing the political participation of all young people. So more information on the 5th Structured Dialogue cycle can be found in our guide for applicants. So now let's go through the application form. Section A just contains general information about the form itself. Section B gives the context of the application form and is specific to the application being made. So please check when you're applying for Key Action 3, the key action is support for policy reform. The action is stakeholder dialogue and policy promotion. Action type, dialogue between young people and policymakers. And if you're applying for the first deadline of February 2017, please make sure the call and the round are appropriate. You will need to correct, make sure that you do download the correct form. As you will be applying to the UK National Agency, you will need to select English as the language. We then move on to project identification, and you will need to type in a project title. And you will then need to choose a project start date. For round 1 projects, the start date must be between the 1st of May 2017 and the 30th of September 2017. So in this example, we have chosen a start date of the 1st of August. So please choose from the drop-down box and the calendar will appear. So please choose your date. You'll then need to choose the duration of the project. And structured dialogue projects can run from between 3 to 24 months. So in this example, I've chosen a 1-year project, so I choose 12 months, and then it will automatically enter the project end date underneath. You will then need to choose the national agency, as you will be applying as the applicant to the UK. Please choose UK 01. So moving on to section C, participating organisations. Here you will need to enter the PIC number of the organisation. So in advance of completing this section of the form, you should have registered under the European Commission's participant portal and obtained a PIC number. You will then need to enter the number into this box and click Check PIC. And then the organisation information will be automatically entered into the fields. So please make sure that this information is correct, up to date, and you can change it in the European Commission portal. If you do have any queries about this, then please get in touch with our team at the British Council. The profile of the organisation, you will then need to choose from the drop-down list there and choose the appropriate type of organisation there. And then you will need to give the background and experience to the organisation. So you would want to include the aims of the organisation, history, location, and how its activities proposed in this application fit in with other activities that you deliver. You should also include details of the young people that your organisation typically works with, in terms of geographical location and any additional needs they might have. And you will need to give details regarding the experience of the organisation and also the key skills and expertise of staff that work there as well. So you will need to, you can free type into these boxes. There is a character limit of 5,000 characters. So you can always type into these, save and come back, or you might want to write the answers in a Word document and then copy and paste. Have you received a grant from any EU programme in the 12 months before this application? You can choose yes or no here. If you choose yes, there'll be a new box there where you can enter details of that previous project. We then move on to legal representative. Now, you'll need to enter the details of the person who is authorised to enter into a legally binding commitment on behalf of your organisation. So this could be one of the members of senior management team. And if the application is approved, this person would be the signatory for the grant agreement and the person who takes on the terms and conditions attached to the grant. So please make sure you complete every field within this section. You then have the contact person. So the contact person will usually be the first point of contact during the application process, and again, if the application is successful, the delivery of the project. And we would recommend that the contact person is different to that of the legal representative. It just gives two channels of contact then from the UK National Agency. So you can select up to 3 additional contact people in this section. So you just need to fill in the details again here, and if you wish to add another contact, press add contact person, and you can see there the fields have come up again there to add another person. So if you be involved with European partners or other organisations here, you click on Add Partner. And then you will need to enter the partner's unique PIC number, similar to that of the applicant, and also give some background information on their experience, the kind of young people they work with as well, and why they would also contribute to this project. So you can see you have the same sections for the partner, and you also need to fill in details of the legal person and the contact person from the partner organisation. Section D then is the description of the project. So when completing this section, please give careful consideration to the following. Why do you want to carry out this project? What are its objectives? What are the issues and needs you are seeking to address through this project? And in what way is this project linked to the objectives and principles of structured dialogue in the field of youth? Were there any situations which led to the development of this project? And what problems or gaps will the partners work to address? How does the project feed into the wider process of structured dialogue at national and European levels? And where possible, projects should demonstrate how young people are actively involved in shaping the project proposed. You will also need to give information how you chose your project partners and the experience and competencies that they will bring to the project. And you will need to list the most relevant topics addressed by your project. So for this, you can choose from the drop-down box, and you can then add up to 3 topics. So if I choose one here, and to add another one, click on the plus icon and choose again from the drop-down box. We then move on to section E, participants profile. Please describe the background of the participants involved, including decision makers or experts if relevant, and how these participants have been or will be selected. So please detail any selection process for selecting participants from all partner groups that has taken place or will take place, and how you ensure a fair process. You'll then also want to give general information on the age of participants and describe how you ensure gender balance in the main activities. E1 then is the section participants with fewer opportunities. Now here you will need to choose whether you are going to include such participants. Does your own project involve participants facing situations that make their participation in the activities more difficult? Now there is more information on participants with fewer opportunities on page 11 of the 2017 programme guide. So if you select yes, you will then need to enter how many participants fall into this category and which types of situations are these participants facing. So you can see from the drop-down list, participants with fewer opportunities are concerned with the following areas. So it could be cultural differences, economic obstacles, health problems, refugee status, for example. E2 then is learning outcomes. So which competencies are to be acquired and improved by participants in the project? So there should be a clear link between the aims of your project, the activity itself, and the learning outcomes. They should also be relevant to your participants and address the need you identified for this project. And particular attention should be paid to increasing young people's civic engagement and competencies for active participation in democratic life. Section F then is preparation. So you will need to detail what preparatory work you will undertake before any planned meetings, and you should demonstrate how you will agree the themes, the programme of activities and working methods with all the partners involved in the project. Please outline the plan to engage with participants as part of the preparations. How will you involve participants in defining themes, activities and working methods? How will you ensure your engaging methods are relevant and appropriate for each participant and as a group? And how do you plan to build a bridge between young people and decision makers? You should also include details of your planned meetings or other methods by which you will ensure regular communication with your partners or other stakeholders. F1 there as well is practical arrangements. So please detail how and when you plan to deliver all these practical aspects and which partners or individuals will take responsibility for them. Outline the risks you identify in the project in relation to tasks, participants and location, as well as your plans for mitigating these risks. This should include agreement on emergency procedures and a code of behaviour for participants. Note your plans for obtaining suitable insurance and managing any additional visa requirements and legal aspects. We recommend that you plan to comply with UK legislation and consider the relevant national legislation in the country of each partner. We would also advise checking the Foreign and Commonwealth Office's travel advice for any countries where you will be travelling or sending participants. Moving on to section G, which is main activities. Here you will need to outline the main activities you plan to organise and the working methods used. For all activities, you will need to provide a timetable which must be uploaded as an annex to this template. The European Commission has published a youth activity timetable template for Key Action 3 applications, and this can be found on the Erasmus Plus website. In addition to the timetable, you should clearly describe each of your main activities, including what the activity is, how you intend to implement, and who will be involved in the delivery. Please demonstrate how you've ensured your methods and activities are relevant to your objectives, as well as the learning outcomes and the impact you anticipate. And all activities will need to use informal and non-formal learning methods, which could include things such as workshops, role plays, outdoor activities, roundtable discussions, so that your project meets the different needs of participants and desired outcomes. And it is important to ensure consistency between the activities outlined and the corresponding activities detailed in the budget section. Good partnership is crucial, so you should present a clear set of roles and responsibilities for those involved throughout the project, and outline how you will monitor the participants' learning and success of the programme and methods over the course of the activity. So then we go on to G1, activity details, and here you will need to enter the specific number of participants and budget amounts, which will calculate the total budget. So under Key Action 3, you can have a national youth meeting where the activity involves at least one organisation from a programme country. So Key Action 3 is unique in that you can have an activity that is just in the UK, or you can have a transnational youth meeting where there should be at least 2 organisations from 2 different countries. So for this example, I will show an international youth meeting, or transnational. But you can see in the drop-down box, you can choose national if you're just having a meeting in the UK. But for this example, I chose transnational youth meetings. You'll then need to enter the meeting title. And in this example, you can see that we have a transnational meeting in the UK. And once you've entered your partner details, once you've entered the PIC numbers for each organisation, you'll automatically be able to choose from the countries in the drop-down box. So you can see here that we have 2 flows. We have Belgium to the UK and we have UK to the UK. So flow number 1 is for the Belgian group that is travelling to the UK. And let's say the meeting is going to be in London. And you can see on the first flow there, flow number 1, this is for Belgium to the UK, so the Belgian group that are coming to the UK, and you will need to choose the distance band. So you will need to use the European Commission distance calculator. More information can be found in our guide for applicants, and it measures the distance in one direction, and then a unit cost amount is awarded for a return journey. The second flow there is UK to UK, so that will be the local group that would also be taking part. It's important to include the local participants. Although they won't be eligible, possibly won't be eligible for travel funding, they would be eligible for organisational support, which is calculated on a per person amount. So you need to enter the dates of the activity, so the start and end dates. And the activity dates should be falling between the project start and end date. So if you have a project of 1 year, your activities should fall within that year limit. So for this example, I've put from the 1st of September until the 8th of September. Obviously some meetings will be a lot shorter. I've just put this in as an example. You then need to put the travel days, so potentially there would be, if a group are coming from overseas, there might be 1 travel day before the activity and 1 travel day after. You would enter the number of participants, and then any participants with special needs, you would also enter a figure here. Participants with fewer opportunities, so these would have been outlined earlier in your application form. Again, there's more information on this on page 11 of the 2017 guide. Number of young participants, and then accompanying persons. Accompanying persons are those which are there to support participants with special needs. So those two are interlinked. And please note that for the number of young participants, the age range is 13 to 30. So you can see we've completed the meeting details. If you wish to add another activity, press Add Activity underneath. And you can see there we've got the activity summary, 1 activity with 60 participants. Moving on to section H, which is follow-up. You will need to give details of the impact on the participants and the organisations involved. So please list any expected outcomes for participants resulting from their planned learning and active involvement in the project. This could be any outcomes that are linked to their employment status, ability to access further education, well-being, or lifestyle. So please choose the most relevant. You'll also need to show the desired impact of the project on youth policy makers and on youth policies at local, regional, national, and international levels. So projects under this Key Action 3, should aim to make a long-lasting impact beyond the participants by engaging with organisations that are active in debates on youth issues at all levels. And please describe what the project intends to achieve in order to influence youth policymakers and youth policies at different geographical levels. H2 then is the dissemination of project results. So please detail your plan to share the outcomes of the project, and at the end of the project you may share lessons learned, tools developed, or methods so that others can benefit from this. It should be clear how you will raise awareness, share any concepts, as well as your influence on policy or practice. And dissemination activity may be in the form of local meetings, workshops, or discussions with members of a wider community, and you may want to use handouts, reports, evaluations, or even video to assist this. You may even want to get press coverage or invite local councillors or decision makers to any of the dissemination events that you will be running. And please get in touch if you wish to provide an Erasmus Plus case study. H3 then is evaluation, so you are expected to include a final evaluation of the project in which you will be able to assess to what extent the project has been a success. It should really highlight the learning outcomes of all involved and how the project has contributed to addressing the overall aim of Key Action 3, which is promoting active participation of young people in democratic life. Section I then is the budget, and the Erasmus Plus grant is intended as a contribution to your project costs, so it may not cover the total cost of your project. Please note, for Key Action 3, the maximum grant awarded for a structured dialogue project is €50,000. And there are two budget categories that you can apply for: travel and organisational support. These are based on unit costs per person. There is additional funding for special needs support and exceptional costs, and this is based on an actual cost basis, so you will need to justify exactly why you are applying for those two categories. Please note the UK National Agency cannot award any funding over the amount requested, so please ensure that you check your budget thoroughly before submitting the eForm. So you can see here that we have the travel. Now, travel, you will need to enter the number of participants in the box, in the red box, as you can see. And we've got 30 there. And you'll just need to change that to the number of participants. It will automatically add the travel amount based on the distance band that you have added. In addition to travel, there is also domestic travel costs, which if you have expensive domestic travel costs, where domestic costs exceed €225, you can apply for additional travel costs here. But this will need to be fully justified within the application form. And if you did apply for this top-up travel cost, you would need to add the number of participants in the box, in the red box on the right-hand side. More details of travel can be found on page 193 in the programme guide. You then have organisational support, which is an amount per person per day and depends on the country where the activity will be taking place. So it does vary depending on the country. Again, you will need to go into the red box here and you'll need to enter the number of participants, and it will work out based on the country per day. It will then calculate the total organisational support funding. Again, if you're unsure or having problems with the budget section, please contact us. Special needs support and exceptional costs. These are extra funding which will need to be justified in the form. So if I click on special needs support, the plus icon, you will need to give details on the number of people that basically need that extra support and what the budget amount is for, and you can free type there in description of costs. Exceptional costs is a similar situation. You'll need to click on the plus icon and you'll need to give details of the exceptional costs that you are applying for. Now, it depends on the type of exceptional cost that you are applying for, how much would be funded. And some exceptional costs would include costs connected to online consultations or opinion polls of young people, costs linked to dissemination and exploitation of results, costs to support participation of young people with fewer opportunities, visa-related costs, and also travel for overseas countries or territories. Please get in touch with us if you do want to query any of the costs related to exceptional costs. Section J then is the project summary, so you will need to provide a well-written, comprehensive summary of the project. And it's important to be clear and concise, talking about the background of the project, the objectives, the participant profile, the activities used, and a short description of the results and impact envisaged, and the potential long-term benefits. J1 then, you can see the number of organisations involved. J2 is the budget summary, so here you can see the total amount of the grant you have applied for. Please note the funding is capped at €50,000. Section K is the checklist, so please make sure that you read through this and that you have attached the relevant documents. So you will need to attach the Declaration of Honour, which is the legal disclaimer signed by the legal representative. You will need to attach partner mandates, which can be downloaded from the Erasmus Plus website. The legal person must sign these forms from each partner. And you will also need to attach the youth activity timetable template, which will give details of your program of activities. Section L then is the data protection notice, so you will need to read this before moving on to Section M, the declaration of honour. So the legal person will need to print this. I'll just go down to the next page. If you click on print declaration of honour, they will need to print the form, sign it, scan it and attach it to the application form. And then in Section N, annexes, this gives you the ability then to attach these documents here. So you'll need to click on Add and choose the file from your computer. And then once you've completed these sections, you'll be in Section O and Submission. So you can check all the pages are correct by pressing Validate. If any fields are missing information, an error message will come up, and it will basically tell you what is missing in the application form. So please click Validate. You can do this at any stage, and there is also a Validate button at the bottom of each page. To submit the application form, you will need to be online. Please make sure you are connected to the internet, and please save a copy of the form, and you will need to press Submit Online. Once you have successfully submitted the form, a submission summary will appear on the screen in this section, and please do save this for your records. To repeat, the first deadline is 11 AM on the 2nd of February 2017, and there are 2 further funding rounds for youth later in the year. Once you've successfully submitted the application form, it will then go through to be assessed, and eligibility checks will take place. The application is assessed on 3 main award criteria: relevance of the project, quality of the project design and implementation, impact and dissemination. So we would recommend that you look at the award criteria in detail. This can be found in the 2017 Programme Guide and our UK Guide for Applicants. So formal eligibility checks will be undertaken by the UK National Agency staff, and the application will then be assessed by external assessors selected for their expertise in the youth field. And here are useful page references in the 2017 Programme Guide. This includes general information on youth projects, eligibility and quality assessment criteria, and funding rules for Key Action 3. Also, general information for applicants can also be found towards the back of the document from page 244. If you do have any queries about the application form, then you can get in touch with the UK National Agency. The British Council are managing Key Action 3 youth applications, and you can contact us on the telephone number on the screen, or emailing erasmusplus.inquiries@britishcouncil.org. Thank you for watching and good luck with your application.